Okay, gentlemen, Ches. So could someone tell me what we're trying to explain now? On the one hand, and yet only this level is the true B'derech HaMelech. I already gave it away. So what's our quarry? What are we trying to hone in on to understand? Even though, what are the three darkas we're talking about?
Arif, Arif, Tzonisatik, and Pnimisatik.
Which corresponds to which Avodas and Mamshech, which corresponding levels? Actually, you should have just said the avodah of the tzaddik, the avodah of the yashar, and the avodah of the chassid. The three levels of avodah. Now we're saying it's all to identify, zero in on the madrege conveyed by the word yeducha. Now, yeducha, beifan klali, generally speaking, obviously is a level that is, please fill in the blank. If it's yeducha means, can't hear you. Yeah, acknowledgement, and that means, as opposed to what?
To knowledge, it's beyond seichel, I think, is what you're getting.
As opposed to an intellectual appreciation, a grasp, a definition. It cannot be described, cannot be grasped rationally, this divine level, because it's beyond containment, it's beyond gvul. So it's a level that we relate to only through bittul, yeducha. But this level of yeducha in general is what? What's the point you say? It's higher than ishtalshalos. So that would include all these three levels of keser. Arech is higher than ishtalshalos, and atik is, and pnimius atik is. Will is beyond rationale. Tainug is in its expression, and tainug in its essence also. So they all qualify, as it were, for the madrega of yeducha. And yet, he says, no, it's only Pnimius Atik, because only about Pnimius Atik, and he's explaining this now, can it be said what? What are the lower two levels do not, what's a property they do not have that only the level of Pnimius Atik has? This was explained at length in Eis Zion yesterday. Noting that he's going to elaborate, but he made the point already.
That the hamshacha happens memela as opposed to the other ones where it's
So the true b'derech mamela, which means organically, as opposed to one simple word, in contrast to
ula.
English.
It's elicited.
Huh?
Elicited? Elicited by something else.
Elicited, okay. Imposed. Overruled. Tzaddik overrules. That's clear. That's a madregi which overrules. Ishtalshalas does not agree, it just surrenders. The Bezdin Shemaila is silence in the face of the righteousness of the tzaddik. He gets the veto rule. It's a veto. And God acquiesces. Not so Atik, and certainly not so Pnimius Atik, which we're about to get to. But already we explained. Then the madrega of Atik is revealed. What's the nature of the effect on Ishtalshalas? It's not what we just described about the tzaddik's effect. This is the yosher. So what is it? We're talking atik. So what is atik? If it's tainug, the very nature of tainug is essential, and it doesn't impose. And if this is who I am, that's what tainug means on two levels. But who I am, well, then there's no struggle if that's who I am. It's what I want that can be extraneous to the essential self. You want it. You want to gain something outside of you. But if it's an expression of tainug, then there's no struggle in consciousness and the faculties. It's who I am. The who I am is the same, is the who I am of every level. The essence, tainug. The atom, in Yonash Teres Achsidis, that's the whole Nakuda. We did Eisches, yeah? Did we finish it? We did. We did, absolutely. So he said, this is the Mila over Tzaddik Geyser, so God steps in and is mevatel it. That's the lower level. That's Tzaddik. Mevatel means silence is the heavenly court, and that's it. The Jew is going to be blessed. Despite the heavenly court's decision otherwise. But then when there's the Amshach of Arich, it means it's a new Ratzon. So I'm sorry, that's the level of Ratzon. But when it's a new will, it overrides the old will. It overrides the decision. The old will was in accordance with the decision of the heavenly court, and now it's overriding that. The old will was that the heavenly court decide. That's the classic will. That's Ishtalshalus. Classic Ishtalshalus is that Arich grants the will, says, God says, I want a heavenly court, a judicial system, yeah. Look. This is all because I didn't finish high school. So the scars remain, you know. As forever a reminder that you didn't finish high school. You dropped out. So, yeah, carries a reminder. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's okay. No, I'm referring to the boxer. That's the line I'm quoting. We were kids, these songs were just playing everywhere. So they actually had some meaning. Some of the Garfunkel songs actually had a message, for the most part. At any rate, Jewish boys, one of them learned in Yeshiva Flatbush, I forgot which one. It's all the Jewish elements in every song, especially the sounds of silence, the writing on the wall, the subway wall, that's right out of Tanakh. Okay, back to the Maimer. So we're elevating the songs. What do we just say now? So God's decision is, the Rotzen is, classic Ishtaushalos, that there be a Ishtaushalos, and who makes the decisions about what goes on in Elam Hazeh as a heavenly court based on reason and value. Then comes the Tzaddik, and he's Geyser, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu Mevatel. So God overrides the decision of the heavenly court. But then there's the Inyan of Tainug, and you must tell me, what is the illustration he gave that it would elicit God's Tainug? An example for Pasuk. Which is more than the tzaddik. I said it wrong. In the lower level, that tzaddik's mevatel. He's granted this license to be mevatel. Of course, God doesn't stand in his way, but the tzaddik's mevatel. But here, it's HaKadosh Baruch Hu's mevatel. The classic tzaddik is the Eibush is Geiser, the tzaddik is mevatel. But here, there's a pasuk, and there's a certain context where the Eibush is mevatel. But that means there's a new rotzen. That pasuk, a new rotzen. We're talking, yeah, not that it's overwritten, but it's a new one. Now, what causes that? No, it was a pasuk. It's a Gemara and a pasuk. Footnote 50. No? When we're doing not just the right thing, but even more than that. Look at footnote 50, no? And 51 in the text. What's the story there? If someone read it to me in the Hebrew, you're looking at it.
The teacher's Torah to...
If you teach Torah to who?
To Ben Amaretz.
A Ben Amaretz. So what's the mile of that? What's the pasuk that the Gemara says?
You take a dear one out of the...
That
you extract a dear one.
Haitzi Yakum is Zaylil. And what's the result of that? The final words in the pasuk. Kefi tiyeh. He, the person who does that, becomes like my mouth. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Eibush is mevatel it. So he said that's a bigger chiddush than the tzaddik being mevatel. Because the tzaddik is mevatel, so the dark of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which is actually Ishtal Shalos, exists, but it's overridden. Like, it's overridden. That's will. Will. He said the Rotzen overrides the Koichas. They protest, but the will gets its way. But the level of the Yasha, this is the higher level where you're drawing on Tainug, end of the ice. But Pnimius HaKeser, we're not Pnimius Atik, Pnimius HaKeser, Tainug, classic Tainug, then the Bitlak Zayda is by Imtzadish Tarshalis itself. HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's Zoh. Why? So just give me some words here. Why is this not overriding, but Ishtaushalos is in part of it, engaged in this, and reflects it? We said at the outset today, what's the difference? The Ratzon Tainug, that's the difference, no? That is? Again, Tainug is essential. So this is eliciting God's essential desire. Ratzon is not an essential desire. Ratzon is a mechanism by which the goal, the objective is going to be carried out. But it has its rules, Ratzon. They just want to do it b'tachtonim. So that means there has to be a Ratzon and a tzimtzum and a bezin shamayla, all of this stuff. So they do their job faithfully, as it were. But it's all because of, it all starts off with the nisave. And here's the thing. What's the nisave? I'm going to create a world that's going to complete darkness and distance. Amaratzim, in the example here, a child born into absolute ignorance, to no fault of his own. That's Seder Abriya. And you're going to change the Seder Abriya. That's why Pnimius HaTainug. The Rotzen doesn't convey that. The Rotzen creates the Seder Abriya. Seder Bri is tachten and a tzimtzum. And there's the haves and the have-nots. That's the nature of life. And that's what the Ratzon does. There should be a Bezdin Shamayla. There's a whole process. There's right and wrong. Why is this kid like this? It's at the cheshbon. It's a cheshbon. Very complex cheshbon, incarnation, parents, amaratzim, ganze Geschäft. That's it. He's doomed. Along comes the Yosher, his height and the tzaddik, and defies it. What's the whole war going back? And now it's already, thank God, it's over. Satmar Lubavitch. Basically, Satmar said, these Jews made their decision. We all went to the Holocaust. We've all suffered. And they made the decision to abandon Yiddishkeit, not even because of Holocaust, come to America and worship the Egel Azav, worship the dollar, and send the kids to secular schools. It's a decision. Nobody got bchira. We chose not, they chose, yeah, you pay for it. And we're not going to compromise our children and our Yiddishkeit to try and change their mind, and makar of them. They made their decision. We're not made of better stuff than them. And they can choose to remain loyal and keep Shabbos, even though they're going to lose their job every week, like my grandfather did. They didn't. So pay for it. Comes along the Shliach, the Yosher, Afa Piken. We're going to be him and defy the whole system. So it says the Abish, oh, that's what I want. That's the Tainuk. I want you to defy the system. That's based from Kloli, the Tainuk. And therefore the system acquiesces is because that's why there is a system. The system says, oh, so why did we make the Tzimtzum? So that this Yid should come along and defy the Tzimtzum Bekar of this child that's born to this family. The words of the Maimed. Malamed or Meifitz Teire Chutza. So the system says, the system discovers the big news. That's why we have a system of Hel and Hester, that there should be Ishapcha, there should be the Chiddush. In other words, the system itself says, my job is to make darkness, and that's it. That's it. Then the Tainik is revealed and says, the reason there's a darkness, the Yid should transform it. That's why you did this, and that's why this whole system is here. So the system itself, Ishtaushal, Bezdin Shamayla, the whole bit. Oh, of course, because the Pnimius HaKavana is revealed in them. It's a big discovery. And it's a constant discovery every time we makar of a Yid and transform the darkness. It's a perpetual chiddush, perpetually in awe. Wow. So that's what we are all about. With all of our constrictors and rules and divisions of who's in and who's out. It comes along the Yosher, the Shliach, the Chassid, the Yid. Okay, Chassid is the third darga still, I'm going to get to. And what? No. Haitzi Yakar Mizaylel. Lashon HaPasuk. Taitzi Yakar Mizaylel. Kefiti, you become like my mouth, because you're expressing my Pnimius HaKavana. So, but what's the kvetch here? Let's remember. Therefore, the effect on Ishtaushalis is not an imposition, it's Ishtaushalis is enlightened. Ishtaushalis is enlightened. That's why you made it Tzimtzum. For this Jew to transform it, we're clear now. So what could be higher than that? The highest Pnimius Atik. Because this is still like something novel to Ishtaushalis. Let's see. I don't know myself. We'll see. Video do it. Continuing now. Oisches. It's known. Since whatever, the footnote's now difficult to follow. You have to have the set. Because now that they came out with, they organized all of the Maimorim in months, whatever, Yom Tovim, they don't send you to look at it. They send you to that new set. If you don't have it, you can go find the Maimon. So it's known that even though the word atik means, lahatik means to, it also means to copy down. Because from you're copying from one place, and now you're copying it here. It means removed. Nivdal, removed. Hataka, removed. That's why copying is called removed. Because you're taking that which is removed, and you are racist. But the true name of Atik is Atik Yoimin, ancient of days. It also means ancient, right? It means ancient, and it means removed. Because ancient is removed, from the present time. But what's the Taich Atik Yoimin? Bepnimius, ancient of days, it means Netak Yoimin, removed from days. And what are days? Days is Ishtalshalas. That's the 7 midas. But so on the one hand, it's removed, but since we're defining it, there's some definition here. Removed from what? Miyoimin, moving shigam lagab da atik. So it means that relative even to the level of atik, yeshna miyoimin. There is significance and value per se to the union of yoimin, which are the 7 midas, which is gvul, elishonetak meher. It's removed. So it's not mamish a level of etzem. Are we clear what he just said now? In brackets, square brackets, we say, moreover, shagam adagish nikra atik stam. So there's also a level which is not called atik yoimin, but atik. Now that would imply the true blikvul, beyond. Shalmarima atik yoimin, higher than the level of atik, which is still related to yoimin, to the days, to the 7 midas, ishtalshalas. Because mokim, nonetheless, it's still subtly connected. Kivin shenikra b'shem atik, the fact that you say it's removed, that also implies the connection. To finish atik or shenetach. Atik means it's removed. Perforce, you must conclude sheyeshna inyan shemenonat, it's removed from something. So if it's removed from something, even though you're not saying what it is, yoimin, but you just give more vague term, removed, implicit in that is some indirect relationship with gvul, with ishtalshalos, with bezdin shemayla. Clear? So even the level we just described now, the effect on ishtalshalos, unlike the will that overrides, unlike the tzaddik that overrides, but here we said no, it's mitzad ishtalshalos itself. Still, it's b'derech pe'ula. It's something novel. It's still something outside. It's a discovery. Oh. You mean the tzimtzum is not to keep the Jew distant, but the tzimtzum is, on the contrary, to transform it and make him closer than ever? It's b'derech pe'ula. It's still something novel. Because mitzad ishtalshalos yoimin, ishtalshalos says, which is yoimin days, the 7 midas, bezdin shemayla, to make it simple, nigza the decree shaleti ashpa. They shouldn't be. There's still that aspect of, from a perspective of what's right, this guy made his decision, he's out. No, by the Meshachas, Atik is bateles. So when Atik is revealed, so it's misbattle. Why is it misbattle? Because then Bezdin Shamayla finds out that the Pnimius Tainig of the Tainig of the Eibishter is what? Is Hapche. The Dafka Makar of this Yid. As he says, so when Atik is revealed, the goes along with this. Okay, fine. That's what you really want. Is you want to be so we go along. No, we go along with this, and there's this appreciation, but it's still really outside their world. What's right and what's wrong says he sinned. He made the decision not to keep Shabbos. What do you want? Okay, your tainik is that despite that, Afa became a part of him, so they go along. But it's novel. It's like it's really what's happening today in many ways. The Haredish world, soon they'll get to the Pnimis HaTainuk. That the whole tachlis is the Inyan of this shliach. They look at the shliach and they say, that's amazing, it's wonderful, but it's a tremendous sacrifice for you, and it's not something that like we're ready to do. They will, if they're going to call it a sacrifice, and if that's the attitude, the sacrifice, even though there's how beautiful it is, which the world is seeing, but if you're calling it a sacrifice, what do you say? But still, Bitzad, really, in the first place, and what's given is you stay in Williamsburg, you stay in Crown Heights, you stay in Yerushalayim, you stay to learn. It's tremendous beauty to Mecca, yeah, but still a Pa'ula. And why? It's called Mesiras Nefesh. So if the Shliach is going to Mesiras Nefesh, he's holding on this level. But it's not Mesiras Nefesh, then the third level is Mesiras Nefesh. Oh, this is my whole Metzias. There's no Metzias in Welt. There's no element of being a martyr. There's ultimate Mesiras Nefesh. There's no hero. The level we described now is a hero. Everybody applauds him. Mishtal Shalis Betzor Shamayla applauds him. Gets a medal. He's a hero. But Mitzat Etzim, Pnimius Atik, no hero. What? No hero. The dust of the whole Inyan. Everything else serves this. It's just a means to get to here. And this moment redeems everything that the Eibishter made from beginning. It's all only for this. This is what it's all about. Nothing else. Nothing else. Everything else, if it reflects this, then good. Then it's everything. Let's see in the words of the Maamar. Aval, after we did the square brackets. Yeah. So we just finished describing the first level of Tainuk. Aval Hashinui bishtal shadam shachas pnimius atik. No. But the change in ishtal is in creation, the whole business. The change that happens when pnimius atik is revealed, ein bederech pu'ula. There's no pu'ula at all. Elamamela, that's completely organic and natural. Adas idas. This is it. Inyan ho, now he explains it in the language of Kabbalah, Madreges. But this is not meant to give us geography, but to give us explanation for Inyan ho. The Pnimius Atik, what is Pnimius Atik? What did we learn in the Maamar of Yitis Kislev Einsav Sheberadlo? You recall, there's 3 dargas in Kesef. Radlo, Chochmastima, and it's Gimel in Kesef, and Atik. But where is the Ein Sof revealed? Purely, it's dafke in the Etzem, in Radlo. Now, Vakiven, the Pirish Ein Sofu she'ein b'ishum agbola. Ein Sof means there is no limitation, which means there's no resistance at all. Harimuven shlagabe Ein Sof ein shaykh loimer shoneta can move the minish damshalas. You can't say about Ein Sof that Ein Sof is beyond the damshalas, because that's already implying some connection. The face of Ein Sof, Ishtaushalas per se has nothing. Now in brackets he adds, what do you mean it's nothing? The Ein Sof you're saying is in Radla. It's in this madrega of Reishad Laisyada. So it means if it's there, not elsewhere, it means that what? That this level is a Keli, that level is not a Keli. Vikash is asking here, and he's giving the answer very, very, very essentially. He's not contained by Radla, not defined by it. The Ein Sof is revealed in Radla in its purest form. And the purest form means that there's nothing other than Eibishter. Period. You can't say God is removed, higher than. There's no then. There's no else. There's no otherness at all. So when this level is revealed, there's no otherness per se. Everything is all him and his pnimius hakavana. Then There's no Pa'ola. There's no matter. Mizem move and the bit like Zedish Mitadishtalshus, the Emshochas Agil, the Pnimis Atiku. So when Pnimis Atik, the Pnimis Kavana Atmos, the Emes and Isave, the one who's being Isave, as it were, not just the desire itself, but the one who desires is Loyadei Shagili Pnimis Atik Nas a bit like Zeda. We're not affecting a bit of the Zeda in any way. Kiyim radish misad agili pnimis atik ein sof shebadlo, when this ain't sof, the true ain't sof, is revealed. Ein malke melchatchila ligzeira. What do you mean there's a Jew that's out? There's no such thing. Only b'chitzonius Inyanim, but not mitzad ein sof, mitzad the pnimius. The chatchila is not on the outside. All you're doing is revealing that truth. That's true, right? Not changing, but revealing the truth all along. So that's the, okay, we'll stop here. He's going to continue. That's the Inyan of Chasidecha. That's Dafka, higher than Yasha. That's the Chasid, as he explains. And I can see he's going to mention again the Maimer, quoting the Maimer Chazal of Yitzhak Kislev. Friends, it's somewhat clear. You need to think about this. These are my words. You have to think about it in your words, in your language, to explain it to your wives at home by the table, to your children, the three dargas. Clearly. Tzaddik is Goyz HaKadosh Baruch Hu Mevatel, that's one darga. The Yashar, the Eibush is Mevatel. And the Chassid, what Mevatel? Ein Makam Mechatchila. So, in clear language, yeah, to explain this. I'm going to ask your family. Ipsuras Teires.